Have you ever heard the saying that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny? Probably not, if you didn't study anatomy. A lot of people study anatomy never heard it. It's a lot of big words, but it's an interesting idea. Is anyone familiar with this? Yeah? Okay. First of all, what is ontogeny? What is phylogeny? Well, what we're talking about right now is phylogeny. This whole idea of looking at how a species evolves from early origins into whatever form it takes. That's, it's like the evolutionary history of a particular member of a species. What are its origins that go way, 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 way back? That's phylogeny. And ontogeny actually refers to the developmental stages that an individual member of a species goes through, from conception to intrauterine life, to infancy, to childhood, to maturity. So that's ontogeny. That's the developmental stages of an individual member of a species, and phylogeny is how that species evolved over eons of time. Ontogeny refers to the single lifespan of a member of that species. So there was this idea that was very popular for a while, sort of right after Darwin came up with his, of course, revolutionary perspective on evolution, that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny, meaning if you look at the intrauterine stages of development, the embryonic stages of development of an individual, because they were just developing methods where they could look at that, microscopes and being able to really see how embryos develop. What did they see? They saw tails, they saw gills, they saw all of these features of more primitive life forms showing up in humans, in developing human fetuses. And they were like, whoa, is this showing us our phylogenetic origins? Are we recapitulating? Are we reliving with each individual lifespan all the evolutionary stages of development that humans went through to become human? Well, it turns out, no, we don't. That's not actually happening. But there were some very interesting and somewhat fanciful ideas. This is the work of Dr. Heckle, who he kind of, look, we got, salamander, tortoise, chick, hog, calf, rabbit, human. Now, he's just showing the embryonic similarities here between the different species and showing how this is kind of similar to this, and maybe this is similar to this, and this, and end up with human. So there was a lot of speculation going on at the time. But it was based on the very real observation that, yes, we do exhibit a tail. We exhibit gill structures as we're developing, And even though it's not an exact recapitulation of all of these stages of development, it does offer a very interesting perspective on our evolution. And in one sense, it actually is true, and that's the one we're going to talk about. The sense in which it's true is relevant to what we're discussing, and that is the origin of our primary and secondary curves. I just mentioned to you how this primary curve developed as a response to becoming quadruped. Okay? And in fact, when we look at the embryonic development of our spines, that is the first curve to show up. That is the first shape our spine shows up in. So it's primary in the sense of our evolution, and it's also primary in the sense of our development. And in the same progression of secondary curves that we go through on an evolutionary basis, we also go through that progression. And we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes.